But yeah, this one was recommended today. And it's an interesting one. The Insidious World of Fake Mobile Game Ads. Dude, everyone knows about these, right? Do you not? If you don't know what I'm talking about, you see these mobile games where it's like, oh, you shoot the barrel, do 101 damage, you get this gun, and then you do the next one, right? And it's like you level up as you go. And a lot of times it's you'll see these on TikTok a lot under like Reddit stories. It'll be like the Minecraft parkour type of thing. They'll use mobile game ads or mobile game things to like get people or keep people's attention. If you've never actually attempted to download the mobile game from those ads, a lot of time it's a completely different game. If you actually try to download the mobile game, you're like, oh, I want to try that. That looks kind of fun. Or the other option where it's like, wow, how the f do they keep failing at this mobile game? There's no way it's that hard, right? And it like baits them into buying it or downloading it. It ends up being some wildly different shit game. And it's like, what the f? That's not what I downloaded. So let's see it. Let's go.
This is a YouTube advertisement for a mobile game called Ebony the King's Return. You've probably seen this ad, or ads just like it, a million, billion, jillion times before, right? But if you go to the App Store on your phone and you download this game, you will quickly realize that the game you see in this ad does not exist. Ebony is a game about city building. You build an empire and level up your town hall and all that good stuff. But despite the fact that this ad is a lie, this marketing strategy is clearly very effective.
Because it gets people in the door. It's like, it also depends if they're doing paid ad or an unpaid ad. If they're doing unpaid ads, like just organic content, like a lot of the times, like short form content is judged based on how long people watch it. And because like something like this is, sorry, not something like that, like something like this is way more easier to digest and people will watch it for longer. It gets longer watch time, which means more people will see it, which means more people will download it. It's crazy.
But despite the fact that this ad is a lie, this marketing strategy is clearly very effective. This game has over 100 million downloads on the Google Play Store. So you might be thinking to yourself, why would a company even do this? What do they stand to gain by tricking over?
Oh my god, these fucking this is rage bait, by the way. If you don't know, these are rage bait games. They like intentionally will do things in the wrong order. That way they get you to be like, what the fuck? It doesn't look that hard. And then you download the game to do it. And then you're like, that wasn't hard, but you downloaded the game, so you lost. You know what I mean?
100 million people into downloading a game that doesn't even exist. Well, I can answer your question.
Or the math ones. You ever seen the ones where they do math where like they do like this, where they're trying to like level something up, right?
People
like
into
this.
Downloading.
And it's like, you have like two things, like one on the left, one on the right, and it's like this one's like plus 10, but the other one's times 2, and you have like 30 points. So like, and they go to the plus 10 instead of the times 2, and you're like, why would you not take that times 2? If that's way more. 30 times 2 is 60. Why would you not want 60 versus, you know what I mean?
A game that doesn't even exist. Well, I can answer your question in just one word. Whales. And when you think of whales, you might think of, you know, big giant creatures swimming through the sea, or maybe, you know, the country with hills and sheep and stuff. But a mobile game developer, when they think of a whale, they think of this guy. His name is Daigo, and he is completely and utterly addicted to a mobile game called Fate Grand Order. He spends basically every waking moment of his life playing this game, and at the time...
Fate is a good series. I've watched a bit of it. Good series. If you're a hardcore Fate series fan, that is probably unironically one of the biggest red flags of any human being on this planet. You are crazy. You are nuts. Help. Don't know what it is about this fan base, but they're terrifying.
Moment of his life playing this game, and at the time of this Wall Street Journal video being released, he had spent roughly $70,000 on the game.
What do you do for work?
So much money that he couldn't actually state an exact figure. And perhaps the most shocking part of it all is that he doesn't regret spending a single penny. This right here is the lifeblood of your average free-to-play mobile game. Maybe your game gets 100 million downloads.
Chat, I'm retiring from streaming and becoming a mobile game developer. I'm gonna make a mobile game.
But the overwhelming majority of those players won't spend a single penny on your game. Many of them will quit after just a couple of hours. A small percentage of players will spend small amounts of money here or there just to make the game more fun for them. But then
yeah, that was me with Pokemon Go. I used to sometimes spend a little bit on Pokemon Go just to like not have to deal with bullshit like you run out of Pokeballs and you're not near Pokestop and you're like, I don't want to go out, but there's something cool next to my house. Okay, it, I'll just grab a couple, then I'll gotta work. You know what I mean? Like, that's how they get you, though. That's how they get
Then
you.
a very small number of people will spend astronomical
Jesus
amounts
Christ.
of money on the game. So much money that it makes up for all of the other people who never spent a penny combined. And the more downloads your game gets, the more whales you get. According to some sources, only about 2% of all mobile game players turn out to be whales. Yet they are responsible for spending the overwhelming majority of the money that the mobile gaming industry makes each year. And 2% of 100 million downloads is a whole lot more whales than 2% of 10,000 downloads. So an advertisement like this, which just flagrantly shows you a game that isn't real, is doing its job exactly right. All this ad needs to do is convince you to download the game. That's it. Because yeah, sure, 90% of people are going to uninstall it basically immediately, and 98% of people won't spend a penny. But those 2% make so much money that from the gaming company's perspective...
For those who don't know, the way our world works today is an attention-based economy in a lot of ways. Getting people's attention, holding their attention is some of the most powerful things you could do. And so in a lot of these fake ads and stuff like that, like, the install numbers are faked. Look up phone farms. Bunch of phones installing games en masse. They're getting paid for showing the ad that leads to installs, fake installs for ad revenue. It's a huge fraud issue in the marketing world. Source, me, technical support engineer at a mobile campaign tracking company. Really? I could teach you everything about this because I literally had to fight this fraud for 4 years. So wait, hang on. Wait. So you run or you work on mobile campaign tracking, right? Are you the mobile game or are you the marketing service for the game? Mobile attribution? I'm trying to think. No, we're a third party. Okay. Used to validate if you should pay them. Oh, okay. So like basically they do marketing and then, oh God, I forgot that's how that works. So like when you do like Facebook marketing and stuff like that, the more you click on those ads, the more they get charged in a lot of ways, depending on how focused their ads are. Like getting those clicks is worth money for them. So I'm guessing it kind of works the same way where if they get a bunch of downloads, they're kind of like farming. If it's pay for view or pay for install. So instead of trusting Facebook's numbers for how they say your campaign did, you do a check with a non-biased vendor. That's so interesting. You know what? I didn't know that industry existed, but it makes sense that that industry exists because I always wondered, because I didn't work in marketing. I worked with marketing, but I didn't work in marketing in my short corporate time. And I always wonder, I'm like, how would you stop somebody from saying just like hardcore click farming the fuck out of you? And like, it's like, oh, our event got 100,000 clicks, but only 100 people bought tickets. Well, you paid for 100,000 people to click on it and you didn't get like any return. And it's like, what if somebody just bought it all of that, you know? That's so interesting.
All
Yo,
of
thank you
this
for the
lying and
gift
cheating
subs, sunscreen. I
is worth
appreciate
it in the end. And it makes the biggest mobile game developers billions of dollars every year.
That's
But you're
so
all probably
interesting.
thinking to yourself
That's
the
a cool
exact same
field.
thing right now. This is just false advertising. Isn't false advertising meant to be illegal? Don't these companies get sued into the ground for advertising a game that's completely fake?
Tell me if I'm wrong on this one, now that we have an expert in chat. I'm guessing a lot of these farms are probably overseas. Good luck suing them in China if you're in the US, considering China is like extremely protective of its own companies and own peoples from outside companies. You are just never going to get you're just pretty much f***ed, right? You're not going to win. They're often called Chinese phone farms. And so if you try to sue them, how does that go? I'm sure if you had to deal with fraud, I'm sure you try to do something legally, right? No, you can win. Really? That's actually surprising. From what I've always known, trying to sue a Chinese company is an outside because vendors like mine learn to block them. Oh, they have fraud features. Interesting. That's good to know.
Well, in theory, yes, false advertising is illegal and it can get you into some serious trouble. But in practice, these companies aren't actually breaking the law. You see, when I said this game didn't exist, I was almost telling the truth. Because this game you see in the advert does exist inside of Evony the King's Return. See, it's a mini game that you can play inside of Evony. You can play it for free for about half an hour before the levels run dry. right, and you have to start engaging with the base building mechanics that most of the game is centered around. So to any government agency looking in, you didn't technically falsely advertise your product. This game is inside the mobile app that it's advertising. It's not false advertising, it's just disingenuous advertising. And disingenuous isn't illegal, so they get away with it. Now, there are some games that do a much, much worse job of pretending to be the game from the ad. Like, whilst I was researching this video, I played a...
So another way around that is a new payment option. They only pay if the user reaches a certain part of the app or the user's journey. So like, let's say they have to play 5 minutes through the tutorial. That's a lot harder to do than mass download, mass delete. Because they have to actually sit there and play. They can't just have like a million phones do it. That's so interesting.
Top War battle game that, as far as I could tell, wasn't even trying to protect.
See, that's why we watch shit like this, because random knowledge. Now I know about a whole new industry and a whole new field I had no clue it even existed. That's cool.
So I have no idea how companies like these get away with it. But generally, the game in the ad will be somewhere inside the app at some point. They run an ad that shows a game that looks kind of fun, so it convinces you to download the game. You play this little mini game for half an hour before quickly realizing that the bulk of the game is not really what you signed up for. And this is where most people just uninstall the game and never think about it again. But for that tiny 2% of players, they get hooked on what the rest of the game contains, and they spend money again and again, and they single-handedly bankroll the entire company that makes the game for years to come. Now, if you've been on the internet for a while and have a relatively good memory, you might also remember these adverts. These ones are similarly infamous for being...
Wait, I swatched from YouTube just to explain this? Wait, oh yeah, you were the guy who gifted 5 subs before and membership on YouTube. I don't know how I didn't put 2 and 2 together there. They're the same person.
Completely fake and not representing the game at all. In fact, these ones are so infamous that they actually made an entire ad campaign that literally commented on how their ads are fake.
Guys, didn't y'all believe that all those puzzle ads were fake and there's no such game? But today, I finally found the game. Ebony the King's Return.
Honestly, this one is so bold in just like doubling down on the lie that I honestly kind of respect it. But these ads were all over the internet a few years back, just blatantly showing a game that they had no intention of actually letting you play for more than 10 minutes. But these ads were discontinued a long time ago, and they've not been running for years. And when you download continued a long time ago.
You killed the lion! Now release the water! Turn it into obsidian! Don't kill him!
For years. And when
it moves the wrong one, you bitch!
You download Ebony, this old game is nowhere to be found, which sheds a light on another strategy these mobile game companies use to advertise their game. They use what's called A/B testing. They will create a bunch of different adverts and then roll them all out onto YouTube all at once. Then they look at the statistics to see which of these ads performed the best and which of them resulted in the most.
Oh my god. Which one gets the highest click-through rate?
For the game. Whichever of these ads that they created that does the
longest
best
watch time, longest click-through rate, or highest click-through rate.
They take the successful ad and they make some iterations of it, changing, you know, details here and there inside the ad. Then they roll out those ads again and measure their success. And they do this over and over again until they have the perfect ad to get as many downloads as possible for their game. And the most important part of all is that whatever minigame they decide to show in the advert is literally completely made up from scratch. And if one of the fake minigames in the ad starts to do well as an ad campaign, they then start making the minigame for their app to match the ad. Funnily enough, most products usually start, you know, making the product.
That is and then
crazy. They make the ad to reflect the product. But
they make the ad first? Oh my god.
Start with the ad. And the moment this ad stops working as well as it used to, the moment people start to catch on that the game they're being advertised is completely fake, the company then changes their entire ad campaign. Make a brand new ad with a brand new fake game and spread it far and wide, starting the cycle all over again. Now, whilst I was researching this video, there was one thing that I just couldn't get my head around for the longest time. If you're a mobile game company and you have an ad that looks like this, that is insanely popular, why not just make your entire game look like this? Like, it's clearly super popular. People like it.
I think it probably runs out of stuff, and they also can't really monetize that. Right? Like, how are you going to monetize
and
these?
It convinces them to download
That's gotta be
game.
it, right?
And there are literally thousands of negative reviews on the App Store page talking about how mad they are about the false advertising. So if you get all this backlash from your scummy marketing strategy, why not just make the entire game be just like the super popular ad campaign that your team came up with? Well, this is where we get
There's no
to
way
the
it's 'cause they're just lazy,
saddest
right?
and most insidious part of the story. You see, whales are only half of the money-making strategy that these game companies employ. Because even if you get 100 million downloads on your app, even
here
if
it comes.
2 million whales
Here
rock
comes
up
the
to your
install
app,
part, right?
cash in hand, you still have to convince those whales to spend their money in the first place. And this is where we get to the nasty part.
So it is this.
The reason Ebony is a base builder, and the reason it's been a base builder for its entire lifetime, is because the base builder game is created from the ground up by very intelligent people with one single goal in mind: to be as addictive and manipulative as possible in order to get you to feel pressured into spending your money. And
And I bet it would be hard to monetize a game where you just run down a fucking
once you've started spending your money,
single
it's
road
designed
shooting
to
button.
Keep you spending it
Like,
over and
they put
over
so
again.
much effort
Whales
into
aren't
making
just
these
whales.
ADs that look so much better than the actual game. Like, put that effort into making the real game.
Yeah, that's what they're talking about.
This shit really pisses me
That
off.
wouldn't really make much money though. That probably wouldn't make a whole lot of money, right?
Was because they're stupid and have too much money on their hands. They're whales because they are unfortunately addicted to a game that they are willing to waste tens of thousands of dollars on. And this little mini game of enemies running down the lanes at you just isn't good at making whales spend.
Also, here's what happens. You make the most money of the ads in the game. Oh my god, and they run ads in the game too. You're right.
It's very good at convincing people to download a game. It's fantastic marketing, but the downside of this minigame is that it's hard to monetize, whereas a base builder or an anime RPG is
hard to
incredibly
monetize.
easy to monetize. And they use all of the nastiest little tricks in the book that you can possibly think of to manipulate people into spending their money.
Shards,
They slow
new
your progression
lives,
through the
more
game
maps.
to a crawl, and then offer you the ability to buy your progression back. They intentionally don't make their games too skill-based so that you'll be more willing to just buy chances to win. They offer you limited time deals to make you feel pressured into spending money literally right now, or else the deal goes away. They make desirable characters, skins, or items impossible to directly buy and make it so that the only way to access them is through loot box mechanics that are completely random. In fact, there's this really scary, disgusting video on the internet called Let's Go Whaling, where this guy, this evil, dirty fucking bastard of a man, goes on a massive 20-minute talk about just how he monetizes a mobile game. And it is genuinely like staring in the...
Oh my fucking god, I played the out of this game. Oh no, I was one of them. They didn't get me though. I was too young. I was a teenager. I didn't have money to spend. Can't get me, asshole. But I put a lot of fucking hours in that game. Holy shit. You were a victim, Flats? No. I played this every single night before I went to bed, but I was a teenager, so I didn't have money to spend, so they couldn't get me. I played it every day. I had so many upgrades. I had so many cars. Oh my god.
Face of Satan himself. I won't go over the entire video here.
Did you beat it? I don't think you could beat it. I don't think I could. I think I got to a point where like I literally couldn't progress any further.
Just link it in the description for you to watch the whole thing, and I really do recommend you watch it because he goes over every dirty little trick in the business that mobile game companies use to pathologize spending money. And after you've finished watching that video, and after this guy has made you really angry, just think that there are dozens of people just like this guy that work at the biggest and most profitable gaming companies in the world. And they spend every moment of their working lives trying to weasel their way into your mind and into your wallet.
Well, yeah, because a lot of places, especially publicly traded places, like their goal is to make as much money as possible. So they sacrifice long-term longevity for short-term gains. And like that's why, in a lot of ways, I like to use the example of Overwatch. Overwatch got absolutely fucking wrecked because it had so many different people pulling it in from different directions. And just in the last like 2 years has it really started to kind of like, or sorry, maybe about a year and a half, has it really started to like be able to recover, and it doesn't have like everyone in every direction pulling on it to either make more money or to like make it an esport or to make it like the next thing, like PvE or whatever it might be. And a lot of games do that. They just try to figure out how can we monetize this as much as we can, as fast as we can. And maybe a bit of a hot take, I feel like that's why Rivals it went to the new format's going to go in after season 3, where it has a new hero every month. Because I think it's lost more than half of its player base since launch. There was probably somebody on the higher up side of that company that went, yeah, we've already lost half our player base. Let's burn hot, burn bright, figure out the problems with balance and too many heroes and all this other stuff later. Just monetize, and try to just go as hard as they can. Because they need to make as much money as possible. That's what everyone wants to do. That's what most companies want to do. Sorry, not every company, most companies.
So that is why the mobile game company can't just make their entire game look
like... But honestly, most games are like that. Or almost every game that's owned by a public company, it behaves this way, whether publicly or behind the scenes. And so it's sad. It's just like, you gotta navigate it though,
like the ad. Because the game in the ad looks much more fun to play, but it's much worse at slyly convincing people to part with their hard-earned cash. And you might be sat at home thinking to yourself, well, I would never be dumb enough to fall for this stuff. I have never spent a penny on a mobile game in my life. And that's just the thing. Because you're probably right. You probably wouldn't fall for this stuff. But there are people out there that do. And they fall for it really hard. And as much as you might not want to admit it, those people are just like you and me. They're not dumber than you. They're not necessarily less able to see it for what it is than you are. They're just more prone to falling into these addiction traps than you are. They are being manipulated in one way or another by a bunch of people in suits, just like this fucker, who spend their lives abusing quirks of human.
No, they're no different than us, but some people have an addictive personality. You have to recognize if you have an addictive personality, right? I have one. At least I believe I do. Because I have people in my family that have been addicted to stuff my entire life. My grandma, towards the end of her rational life, like when she didn't have dementia, big gambler. My dad, giant smoker. My mom used to be a big smoker. She sort of quit, but sort of didn't. Much less these days. One of my uncles, big alcoholic. And so when you have these addictive personality people, especially genetically, like people that you grew up with, parents, grandparents, cousins, whatever, you have to be very careful, right? You have to be very fucking careful. And so I know that they're saying like it's not their fault. It isn't, but you should also take some self accountability on that one and just be like, listen, like you have to be careful. Like there's a reason why. Like I wouldn't want to ever promote like gambling or anything like that. Even though I've gotten offered like crazy fucking things in the past. Even for something small like FanDuel or like, you know what I mean, like sports gambling. Like all my IRL friends like that I went to high school with, they all sports gamble. Like we have like a group chat like where a lot of us just like keep up. Like I don't really say a whole lot these days, but almost all the texts these days are like, oh, I'm putting like $10 on fucking the Dodgers this weekend or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, I got this parlay going, you guys should hop in, it's actually pretty good, right? And it's like they're not like bad people, they're not like dumb, but like it's not even like ruining their lives in any way. Like they're not off the deep end with it, to my knowledge. But I also notice as the outsider, like, hey, almost all you guys ever talking about is gambling these days. So I would never want to be with someone that does that. But also, I just kind of like wanted to say, like, yeah, those people aren't dumber than you, but you have to be smarter than them. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not saying like if there's these people that are addicted to mobile games and stuff like that, they're not bad people, they're not dumb people, but you need to be smarter than them. Not calling them dumb, I'm telling you to be smarter. Does that make sense? Maybe if you watch this, if you're one of those types of people that does have like people in your family that are like that, sports bettors, alcoholics, a little weed here and there, gambling, you know what I mean? Like if you see like a lot of your family members that do that, probably be really careful and like probably try to stay away from those things if you can, for the best way you can. You know, not telling you never drink, not telling you never have a good time, But if you notice that like you're doing it like every weekend, and like you kind of get in a bad mood if you don't, you need a little wake up, you know? I've had it happen where it's like, hang on, I've done this like 3 or 4, 5, 6 weeks in a row. I'm gonna go this week without it, or go this week without doing something. Oh, I was a little more irritable this week. Yeah, I'm gonna cut back for like a month and see what happens. And then after a month later, I'm like, oh, I feel so much better. Okay, let's not do that no more. You know what I mean?
Psychology to make themselves insanely rich at the expense of everyday people just like you. So if you're ever watching YouTube and you see a mobile game ad that looks appealing to you, please, for the love of...
To be fair, we look at these mobile game people the same way people look at us for buying skins in games like Rivals or Overwatch. Not wrong, and I really don't buy that many skins, even as a content creator. You know, like I'm like you know what's funny? If you want to talk about like Overwatch really quick, I feel like I'm so different than like the Overwatch community of today, because like whenever I see Twitter or Reddit or anything, like nobody really talks about balance stuff anymore. But even before Rivals, people all talked about was skins. That's all I wanted to talk about. It's all everyone ever talks about. They don't talk about the new upcoming like content or perks or anything like more than like 2 weeks. Like they want to know, when is Juno getting another skin? Why isn't so-and-so getting a skin? Why isn't the next battle pass this theme, you know? And it's like all revolves around that. But for me, it was the gameplay.
God,
you know?
Don't click on it. Because clicking on it is exactly what they want you to do. Thanks for watching.
That was a really good video. That was actually an exceptional video. I'm glad I watched that. And we learned about some extra stuff from chat. So that was cool.